But there is also the very sad story about Kamila Valieva. And I do not need to go back to the decision and how it came. I think this has been discussed and been addressed there with you also when Dennis Oswald was here the other day. But I must say I was very, very disturbed yesterday when I watched the competition on TV and saw first in her performance how high the pressure on her must have been. And I know from my athlete's time a little bit about pressure. But this pressure is beyond my imagination. And in particular for a girl of 15 years old. And to see her there struggling on the ice, seeing her how she tries to compose herself again, how then she tries to finish her program. And you could, in every movement in the body language, you could feel that this is immense mental stress, and that maybe she would have preferred just to leave the ice and try to leave this story behind her. But this was not all. When I afterwards saw how she was received by her closest entourage with such what appeared to be a tremendous coldness, it was chilling to see this, rather than giving her comfort, rather than to try to help her. You could feel this chilling atmosphere, this distance, and if you were interpreting then the body language of them, it got even worse, because this was even some kind of dismissive gestures I saw there on TV. And this impression was, I was pondering about this, I must say, then last night, and whether you can be really so cold to your athlete. But when I saw and read today how then Alexandra Trusova was being treated, and when I read about her comments, I'm afraid that this impression that I had last night was not the wrong one. All of this does not give me much confidence in this closest entourage of Kamila, neither with regard to what happened in the past, nor as far as it concerns the future. How to deal, how to address, how to treat a minor athlete at the age of 15 under such an obvious mental stress. And I can only wish for her that she has the support then of her family, the support of her friends, and the support of people who help her over this extremely difficult situation, and that then we can then we can only hope for her to see that this is addressed in the right way, and that there is not a traumatic experience for such a young woman.
Thank you. Konstantin Panushkin, Channel 1 Russia. Mr. President, you just told us about your impression of yesterday's coaches, and you told us about freezing cold impression. And it seemed like you trying to put responsibility of what happened to Kamila Valieva yesterday on them, on Russians. And I want to ask you about yourself. Don't you feel at least a part of responsibility of that media chaos that started on the 9th of February, of that hate speeches, of that bullying of 15-year-old Olympic athlete, of sometimes political propaganda that exploits the name of the Olympic athlete? And don't you think that all this media chaos itself damages the Olympic movement even more, much more, than the positive sample in December by Kamila Valieva? Thank you.
Well, I think in the last moment, you were stating the fact. There is a positive A sample. And this positive A sample has to be dealt with. You do not solve problems by ignoring them. And we were not ignoring them. We were addressing them, and then lost the CAS case. This is not a chaos. This is just the rule of law. This is just justice. And therefore, what is happening around, and what the different opinions having been expressed by people all over the world is a different issue. We are following the rule of law, and we are feeling at the same time with a minor, with a 15-year-old girl who obviously has a drug in her body which should not be in her body. And the ones who have administered this drug in her body, these are the ones who are guilty.
Thank you, President. Yeah, Tracy Holmes, please, and then we'll come to Steve Wade from AP.
It's not on? Yeah. Okay, Tracy Holmes, ABC Australia. My question's in a similar vein, and that is your words appeared very heartfelt at the beginning about the tragedy of the Valieva story. But I wonder whether the IOC's decision to take it to the Court of Arbitration for Sport 48 hours before she was to skate contributed to that pressure that she was under. And also when you weigh up as part of the IOC, when you make these sorts of decisions, including the decision not to go and watch as one of the first presidents in most recent memory to not go to that event, how much of it is determined by the brand and the reputation of the IOC, and how much weight is given to the reputation and the well-being of a 15-year-old athlete? Thank you.
Thank you very much. With regard to the first question, imagine we would not have reacted, and we would have had an athlete exposed to this pressure, participating with a positive A sample, being known by all her competitors, being known by the world public, and all the governing bodies not reacting. And there, ISU reacted, WADA reacted, and we reacted. And again, you do not solve a problem by ignoring it. There is a positive case. There is the responsibility of all the governing bodies to ensure a fair competition. And this is the responsibility we took. And that this happened 48 hours before is not in our responsibility. WADA is looking into this, what happened there between Rusada and the Stockholm laboratory. But even if it's 2 hours before a competition, our responsibility is to ensure a fair competition. With regard to your second question, I'm not sure, whether I'm the first IOC president, not being the women's individual skating. I would not even know whether I was in Pyeongchang or in Sochi at this competition. And anyway, I do not think, that the value or the estimation of a competition depends on who is sitting in the stands, but it depends on what is happening on the field of play, and this also applies to the IOC president and others being or not being in the stands.